Hello everyone and welcome to Module 3. In this module we're going to focus on setting up skips in our example questionnaire. At the conclusion of Module 2 we've set up a nice scaffold of our survey. We have in place all the rosters, all the questions and all the sections. So in Module 3 we're going to be looking at putting the skip patterns in so that this will all work correctly and give the questionnaire good flow. Now when I talk about skips I mean jumping forward to a further question in the survey and leaving some unanswered. This process is based on answers to a previous question. You may have heard of this referred to as logic or skip patterns or something similar in the past. In today's lesson, we're going to be taking a look at a few things. Firstly, we're going to have a look at how skips are handled by Survey Solutions. Next, we'll be taking a look at some of the basic programming language you're going to have to learn to implement these skips. And finally, we'll be setting up a few skips on our example questionnaire. Now, Survey Solutions doesn't use the term skips. In Survey Solutions, we call these enabling conditions. They haven't just done this to make us learn a new word. There's actually some differences to the way that it works. So let's take a look at that now. So let's imagine that we have three questions. The first question, asking about the respondent's gender. The second question, asking if the respondent is currently pregnant. And the third question, asking the age of the respondent. Now, obviously, we don't want to ask question 2 about pregnancy to the male respondents. So when we think about a skip pattern, we'll direct the system at question 1 to move forward to question 3 if that respondent is a male. When we think about enabling conditions, this is applied to question 2, and we tell the system to only show this question if the answer to question 1 was a female. So you can see the end result is the same, but the way that we instruct Survey Solutions to get there is the opposite of what's done in other survey software packages, or indeed intuitively in your mind. Let's take a look now at some of the syntaxes we're going to need to implement our enabling conditions. In the Designer tool, we're going to always enter our code into the enabling condition box for the question which we want to display or not display, depending on previous answers. A basic syntax you can think about is you can hold in your mind before the enabling condition box to say display this question if. Then we'll use a question ID of a previous question, followed by an operator, followed by a value. Let's take a look at some of these basic operators we can use in Survey Solutions. Today, starting with the relational operators. So first of all, we have two equal signs, meaning is equal to. The exclamation point, followed by an equal sign, means is not equal to. Then we have is greater than or equal to, is less than or equal to. Let's take a look now at our example questionnaire and create our first enabling condition in Survey Solutions. The first enabling condition we're going to set up is in Module B, and we'll come across to question B15. So you can see here at B14, we have a skip pattern written in the questionnaire that if the respondent has not obtained formal training in agriculture at B14, then we will skip past B15 and go down to the next row in the roster. You'll often see in paper-based questionnaires enabling conditions expressed more in the format of skip, particularly for people who are used to working on paper surveys. It's our job as the designers to change skip pattern instructions around to make them work as enabling conditions. So what we're going to do is have question B15, and our enabling condition is going to be ask B15 if B14 is equal to code 1. In the designer, I'll find question B15 because this is the question I want to display or not display. And I'll come down to my enabling condition box, and I'd like to enable it if B14 is equal to double equal signs 1, the code for yes. You can see the code 1 here turns to blue, telling us it's a valid code. I press save. Let's take a look at a slightly different example back here at question B12. So we can see here another skip instruction at B12 that if the code selected is 12, 13 or 14, then we should skip past B13 over to B14. To switch this around as enabling condition, we need to ask B13 if B12 is less than or equal to 11, or we can say less than 12, the same. So at question B13, my enabling condition will say, show this question if B12 is less than 12, or you can write less than or equal to 11, the same result. Now that we've set up our enabling condition, it's time for the most important part of today's lesson, and that is to test our survey. I can't tell you how important it is to always test your enabling conditions to ensure that they're working in the way that you intended them to. Let's have a look now. Let's test those enabling conditions we just made in Module B to make sure they're working correctly. So first, I'll set up at least one row in my household roster. Let's go first to B12. So if I select code 1, I should see B13. But if I select unemployed, B13 will be hidden from me. The same for B14. If I select yes, then B15 will appear. If I select no, then B15 is not enabled. So that's all for this lesson on the introduction to enabling conditions. Join us next time and we're going to look at some more complicated enabling conditions.